What is happening, guys? It's Combat Muffin, and today we're going to be doing another review. However, it's a little bit different than the other reviews that we've done in the past. In the past, we've done specific star cards or weapons, but today we're going to be doing a whole star card hand. In one of my past videos, I was requested by someone to do a review on the Predator loadout. And for those of you that don't know, before we get into the review, Predator was a movie series. I don't know much about it. Please be sure to correct me in the comments if I get anything wrong. It was a movie series, sci-fi movie series. Not really my cup of tea, so I don't know much about it. But a lot of the parts of this star card hand are attributed to some of the abilities that this quote-unquote Predator had in these movies. From what I can tell, this Predator is an absolute badass. So let's get right into the star card loadout review to see if this loadout is as badass as one may think. To start off with the review, let's go over what the star card loadout is actually composed of. To start off, you're going to need the X-8 Night Sniper. This loadout is really built around the X-8 Night Sniper's thermal vision ray thing. Let's just call it thermal vision ray for the rest of the video. No complaints, alright? Thermal vision ray. That's what this loadout is really being based off of and where its strength comes from. So X-8 Night Sniper, that's where you're going to want to start. Now the star card loadout for me goes as follows. Jump pack, explosive shot, smoke grenade, scout trait. As far as the star cards, there's really only two extremely crucial things that you need for this to work. The first one, and probably the most crucial one, is the smoke grenade. And the second one is the scout trait, for it will help you get around your opponents more sneakily, get you a lot of kills. Now I run jump pack. Of course you don't have to run jump pack. I like to have jump pack out there on the battlefield. It makes you that much more agile, that much more nimble, that much more likely to survive. That's why I like to have it. You could run a grenade, you could run something else, a sniper for more long distance, but I like a jump pack. You can go whichever direction you would like though. Now as for the star card charge, it was recommended that I would use the explosive shot or focus fire star card, which are very good star cards, and if you know how to use them, they can be very good. And over time, they worked out, but over time, I saw that a much better star card to use was the scan pulse. Because this loadout and how this loadout operates is really based on your opponent's lack of knowledge of where you are on the battlefield. How much better can that be for you pouncing on your opponents and really surprising them and getting that kill if you know exactly where they are with the scan pulse? Again, like the jump pack, the charge star card is not as crucial to the loadout, specifically in the Predator loadout. You can go a different direction, but I recommend the scan pulse. The explosive shot also works well with the X-8 Night Sniper, as well as the focus fire. So there's a few steps on how you're going to want to use this loadout out on the battlefield. The first step is you're going to want to find a 360-degree location. 360 is preferable, 180 is still always good, to see the battlefield and see where your opponents are. Once you get there, your next step is to put down a smoke grenade. When that smoke comes up, it'll allow you to use your then X-8 Night Sniper in step 3 to use your thermal heat ray vision to look through the smoke and spy your opponents while they cannot spy you. Now when I say they can't see you, that's not entirely true. They can and they can't. When you're in that smoke cloud, depending where you are in that smoke cloud, they won't be able to see you. However, they will know that you're there. But the accuracy of their weapon hitting you is much, much less likely. But the accuracy of you hitting them with the X-8 Night Sniper's thermal ray vision is much, much better than their accuracy to hit you. Again, it's not 100% that they don't know where you are. When you see this giant smoke cloud in the middle of nowhere, you're going to suspect something's a little suspicious. And they will see your highlighted name above your head every now and then as you pop in and out of the smoke cloud. But for the most part, they will have a strong difficulty seeing you and pinpoint accuracy on hitting you with their weapon. And that right there is essentially the steps on how to wield the Predator loadout on the battlefield. As far as I could see, it's a very interesting idea, a really interesting concept. Whoever came up with it is clearly a very crafty player, and you have to be really scrappy and crafty on the battlefield to really make this work. But if it does work, you can really get the jump on some opponents. Now I'm guessing that the real review question here is whether or not the Predator loadout is practical to use on the battlefield and to take into most engagements. And in order to tackle this question, I'm going to do a nice quick pros and cons of this. It won't be showing up on the screen, but I'll just be talking about it. One of the pros of this star card loadout is that you will almost always get the first shot off on your opponent. Not only that, another pro is that the accuracy of your opponent's shots on you will be far less accurate than yours on them, especially since you're wielding the X-8 Night Sniper, which is a dead-eye, skilled hand, accurate weapon to wield on the battlefield. And lastly, a more general pro that this loadout carries is that your enemy will have much less of knowledge where you are on the battlefield, which will result in more survivability for you. And this star card is not a bad way to boost your KD. It can lower the amount of deaths that you have in the game, depending on how much you use it. And I guess one more pro about this is that it really clears up the X-8 Night Sniper's thermal ray vision. Before you had the smoke, it was really not specific where your opponents were in comparison with the scenery. They were roughly the same color. Yes, your opponents were much brighter, but it was not that much contrast. Now, however, as you're looking through the smoke, it's black on white, which is much more clear and much more accurate and precise. Now, let's jump into the cons, starting with the X-8 Night Sniper. Yes, the X-8 Night Sniper is a con inside of itself. It is a very, very poor weapon, and while the star card hand does boost its ability on the battlefield with the thermal ray vision making it more specific and clear, it is still very much lacking in the rate of fire and kill time department. There were many times when I was using this loadout where I thought that I had the jump on an opponent, I got the first shot off, and then out of nowhere, the X-8 Night Sniper's slow time to kill just kicked in, and this other guy, who was so surprised, still got the kill on me. Maybe that's because I suck with the X-8 Night Sniper. It is a pretty poor weapon in my view, but that's a con, I believe, with the star card loadout. If you had a weapon like the EE3, E11, A280C, anything like that, it would be much better, but the X-8 Night Sniper is a weapon that is deeply struggling. In addition, another con is that this star card loadout does not really leave that much up for customization. You need the X-8 Night Sniper, you need the smoke grenade, and you don't really need the scout trait, but I would recommend it. I recommend that you put that in your trait slot. So this only leaves the charged star card position and one star card slot, where I believe many people will put a jump pack. And one more con is that it's a very meticulous, complicated, step-by-step star card hand. Very few star cards have this much specific steps to it, and sometimes that can make your progress on the battlefield rather slow when you have to set up your spot, find your spot, put down the smoke grenade, wait for the smoke to come out, find your opponents. Another con is that you have to wait for your opponents to come to you. You can't really go to your opponents because your smoke will not go with you, which is a shame. Now why don't we jump back to the original question, which is it practical to use this very specific star card loadout on the battlefield for most engagements? And before I answer this, I'm just going to tell you that this is for me. It's how it works for me. It could be totally different for you. I highly recommend that you get these, upgrade these cards, and try it out for yourself on the battlefield. But for me, it's not as practical as, say, my typical loadout with a jump pack, disruption, back to bomb, and berserker trait. It's not as practical as something like that. But again, I highly recommend that you try this out for yourself because it can work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It can work in a lot of situations and work very well and get the jump on a lot of opponents. But that is for some very specific situations, and you need some very specific predicaments in order for it to work. Back to why it doesn't really work for me. My playing style is transitioning from very aggressive to more passive, back to aggressive, back to passive. This restricts how you're going to play on the battlefield. It only allows for very specific situations and does not increase the amount of movement you do between situations in the battlefield. Alright, so you've heard what I've had to say. Now I want to hear what you have to say. If you have tried out this star card loadout before, be sure to put what your thoughts are in the comments below. And if you haven't, you can put your thoughts on just based on what you've seen in this video, and if you are going to get the star cards and weapons necessary for this star card hand to work. Always, as always, like and subscribe if you like this video at all. Put your thoughts in the comments below. My name's been Combat Muffin, and it's been a great time, and I'll see you guys on the other side.